Hi and welcome to our internal product training for Elevate. My name is Marcus, I'm product manager for TechLine, and today I have some strong technical support with me. Simon, who is technical product application engineer, and he will be the main contact for you if you have any technical questions about this product. Elevate is using our powerful LC3 IC lifting column. When you order the lifting column, you need to make sure to also order the Elevate accessory kit for UR. With the kit, you will get the top mounting plate with screws to mount the top mounting plate on the lifting column. You get the base plate with screws to mount the base plate directly on the lifting column. Furthermore, you get two cables, a 5-meter signal cable and a 5-meter power cable for the lifting column. To make sure that all the cables stay in place, you also get the cable relief with a screw to tighten the cables onto the lifting column. In addition to the accessory kit, there's also the UR cap. We show you later how you get the UR cap and how you set everything up on the robot. Before we're going to show you how to mount the cobot plate and the base plate to the lifting column, we will have a look at the three connectors of the LC3 IC. Let us start by connecting the power cable to the lifting column. The connector on the very left side is the power connector, and here we can insert the cable. It's important that the slot of the stick is pointing downwards because that's the only way how the cable fits in. The connector in the middle is the connector for the signal cable, the 9-pin signal cable, and here the small pin on the connector needs to point to the left side. That's the only way how the cable can be inserted. When both cables are inserted, we can use the cable relief that can be placed on top of the two cables and should be screwed in with a Torx screwdriver. If you have ordered an Elevate Modbus, you find a third connector. That's the connector on the very right, which is an RJ45 connector. Here you can simply take your Ethernet cable and insert it. When mounting the top plate onto the lifting column, it's important to turn the top plate the right way so the countersunk screws fit into the holes. You will find two additional holes on the top plate. These need to point towards the cable. You can use those holes to mount a bracket or to mount an energy chain. Make sure that all screws are well tightened. The same goes for the bottom plate. Make sure to select the right screws to tighten the base plate into your application. Now we are ready to start with the electrical installation. Let us start with the power supply. The power cable is the cable with the two flying leads, with a brown and a blue wire. Connect the brown cable to the VCC of your chosen power supply. The blue cable is the ground and needs to be connected to the ground of the power supply. Make sure that your power supply can deliver 20 amps at 24 volts. Elevate can be upgraded to a safe torque-off system. You find an example in the wiring diagram. Here you can see there are safety relays or safety contactors inserted between the power supply and the lifting column, so you can remove the power when it's needed. The interface only uses 4 digital I/O ports. The red wire is the run signal to run out. The black cable is the run signal to run the column in. Those need to be connected to the digital output signals. The yellow cable is the feedback signal for the end of stroke inwards, and the green cable is the feedback signal for end of stroke outwards. Those cables can be connected to the input signals of the UR controller. It is not important which ports are chosen because they can be selected in the UR cap. Elevate Pro uses 4 wires for sending signals. The red and the black wire is used to send the 4 to 20 milliamp signal to control the speed of the lifting column. The yellow and the green cable is sending encoder feedback from the position of the lifting column, and they need to be connected to the encoder input of the universal robot control box. For Elevate Modbus, you need to connect the Ethernet cable from the lifting column to the UR controller. You can either connect it directly to the controller or connect it over a switch. Furthermore, you need to connect the orange wire of the signal cable to a 24 volt power output. This can be an output from the UR controller or from your power supply. The power is needed to power the communication module from the integrated controller, so you can always communicate with the lifting column. If everything is wired, power cycle the lifting column to make sure it adds to the network.
To install the EuroCap, go to Settings, System, and EuroCaps. Now click on the plus symbol. Now it's time to insert the USB disk with the EuroCap. When the USB disk is present, open the folder and select the EuroCap. When the EuroCap is loaded, you'll have to restart the controller. When the controller is ready, hit the Installation tab, EuroCaps, and Elevate. Now click on the Generals tab and choose your corresponding lifting column in the drop-down menu. For Elevate Easy, we must define the inputs and outputs. Select your chosen inputs and outputs. In our case, we have chosen digital output 0 for move up, digital output 1 for move down, digital input 1 for end stop signal up, and digital input 0 for end stop signal down. Then we need to confirm the safety warning. Now click on Test Connection. If the robot is turned off, you'll see a pop-up stating to turn on the robot. Head to the lower left corner and click on the red button. Click On. Start. When the robot is turned on, you can click on Exit. The last step of the EuroCap setup is to initialize the column. When the initialization is done, an OK will appear. You can test the lifting column by clicking on the Euro Plus tool in the upper right corner. From here, you can see the current position, end stop reached up, end stop reached down, and the current status. You can also move the lifting column manually. For Elevate Pro, we must define the inputs and outputs. Select your chosen inputs and outputs. In our case, we have chosen analog output 0 for speed control, digital input 8 for pulse encoder A, and digital input 9 for pulse encoder B. Then we need to confirm the safety warning. Now click on Test Connection. If the robot is turned off, you'll see a pop-up stating to turn on the robot. Head to the lower left corner and click on the red button. Click On. Start. When the robot is turned on, you can click on Exit. The last step of the EuroCap setup is to initialize the column. When the initialization is done, an OK will appear. You can test the lifting column by clicking on the Euro Plus tool in the upper right corner. From here, you can see the current position, end stop reached up, end stop reached down, and current status. You can also move the lifting column manually. Before we can configure the Elevate Modbus, we must make sure the controller has a static IP address in the range of the lifting column. Go to Settings, System, Network, and click on Static Address. Now we must change the IP address of the controller to 192.168.1.11. And the subnet mask to 255.255.255.0. Leave the default gateway blank. Click Apply and wait for the network to be connected. Let's head back to the configuration of the Elevate Modbus by clicking on Exit, Installation, URA Caps, Elevate, and then the General tab. For Elevate Modbus, we must define the Modbus IP address. The default IP address of the lifting column is 192.168.1.10. Then we need to confirm the safety warnings. Now click on Test Connection. If the robot is turned off, you will see a pop-up stating to turn on the robot. Head to the lower left corner, click on, Start. When the robot is on, you can click on Exit. Go back to the General tab and click Test Connection again. When the test is done, stop program and head over to the Overview tab. Here an OK for the lifting column initialized should be